Yeah, so what's one of the best movies ever made about office life? Yeah, I'm gonna have to go ahead and sort of agree with you there. Hi everybody, welcome to Real Rebel. Today I'm going to talk about Office Space. Office Space came out in 1999 and it stars Ron Livingston as Peter Gibbons. Now Peter Gibbons is working in an office and just right off the bat you can tell this guy is miserable. He has this awful commute and I've had a commute like this before where you're in gridlock traffic and he's in one lane and it's completely stopped. The lane next to him is moving, so he quickly pulls over into that lane and then then that lane stops and the lane he was just in starts moving. So there's Peter and then there's his other coworker Michael Bolton and Samir, and they're all driving to the same office and they're all dealing with the commute in their own little ways. I think I've dealt with it pretty much all the ways that they have. The frustration that Peter had, the Michael Bolton just singing at the top of his lungs, and then Samir just going on full-on rage with frustration. Just right off the bat, poor Peter, he hates his job. He goes in and it's just completely this gray, vast wasteland of cubicles, and he goes in and he's not happy, and he's being told by 8 different people to correct the same mistakes. So it's just, so he, by 9:15 in the morning, he's already lost it, and he needs to go gather up his 2 friends, Michael Bolton and Samir, and they go over to a restaurant, and he just has to say, I'm just, I don't know how much longer I can do this. I'm just gonna lose it. And his friends don't seem to share the same thought. They seem to be pretty content with their job, but Peter is miserable, and it just so happens that the restaurant he's at, that he really has an eye on the young waitress, Joanna, who's played very well by Jennifer Aniston. She's really good in this movie. So Peter has this girlfriend, and they're on the verge of breaking up, and just as the last resort, they go to a hypnotherapist to try to save their relationship. And it comes out, the hypnotherapist asks Peter what's going on, and he tells him just how every day of his life is worse than the day before it at his job. And the hypnotherapist goes, wow, that's really messed up. And not only is every day worse than the day before it, but Peter also has to work weekends, so every single day is bad. So the hypnotherapist puts him under this trance where Peter just feels like he's been fishing all day, and he ends up, he goes into this, interesting kind of transition where he just stops caring, and so he doesn't really show up for work, he doesn't listen to his bosses, and he ends up getting promoted and getting more money, and while his friends who do what they're supposed to do end up getting fired. So it's kind of nice little twist of irony in there. And I actually think that this movie does have an important message. So what is that message? And actually at one point in the movie, Peter Gibbons says to his friend Michael Bolton, who's just been fired, that human beings weren't meant to spend their lives in little cubicles without any windows, only to be expendable and let go just so that their boss's stock can go up 1/4 of a point. And that's when he and his friends plot revenge against the company. And that becomes this new mission of the movie, is to get revenge and to rip off the company. And so they use this tactic, the same tactic that was used in Superman 3, that would round off pennies that would go into an account that they would all share, but it would happen slowly over time. And it's they even give credit to Superman 3 and say, yeah, it was pretty brilliant, underrated movie actually, and it is. I think you should check that one out too. So they It's really cute. They have a little floppy disk. That's the big thing that's gonna take down this company, is a little floppy disk. I think those things held like 3 megabytes on them back in the 90s. I love old technology like that. So the plan, it backfires. I mean, they do end up destroying the evil printer, but which was a hilarious scene, but the plan backfires, and because that really isn't the point of the movie either. The point is for Peter to grow. And he tells his girlfriend about the plot, and she's like, well, isn't that stealing? And he goes, no, it's just these pennies that were, these fractions of a penny that we're taking. So, well, like, you're taking money, but that's not yours. How's that not stealing? And, so he's just like, ugh, and so she sees through him, and then they get into a fight about a few things, and, she tells him, that he's not a really nice guy. And then this plan backfires, and then his friends also tell him the same thing. They turn their backs on him, and his friend Samir says, you are a very bad person. And then Peter has nightmares about it, that he's sentenced for this crime that he's committed, and the judge also says, and you are a very bad person. So this whole thing is bothering him. So he decides to clear his conscience and redeem himself by writing a confession. And so in the end, his character does grow and become a better person. So it all ends up working out. We get to see Peter happy, and he picks a job that he ends up liking, and he's content. He's happy. He's got his girlfriend back, and Jennifer Aniston, her character, and kind of goes through a same sort of a thing where she tells her boss off, who keeps bugging her about her flair. And it's actually, her boss is played by Mike Judge, who wrote the movie, and he also was behind King of the Hill and Beavis and Butthead, and so he's the mastermind behind this story, which he did a great job. And so anyway, so she tells him off, and she gets a job that she likes better. And so Peter ends up fulfilled. He's got his girl, he's got a job he likes, he gets to watch Kung Fu, he gets to work outside, and so he's happy. And so I really think that is the point of this movie, to work at a job that you enjoy. And if you're in one that's miserable, to try to look for something else. And if that's not possible, to at least follow something that you enjoy. But don't stay where you're unhappy, because life really is too short for that. And I think that that's really what this movie is trying to say. It just does it in a really, really funny way. Just a few bonus things. So this is the swing line stapler. I've had this for years. I probably saw this movie in the mid-2000s for the first time, and I just absolutely love this movie, because at the time I was working a job very, very similar to Peter's, and I had a boss that sounded exactly like Lumberg, like, yeah, hi, yeah, if you could do that, that would be great. And so I absolutely love this stapler, and it's actually very high quality, but it's a little bit tomato red instead of red, because it's old and it's spent some time in the sun. And also just for fun, I don't know if you can see this, but so this is the DVD of Office Space. So it's the widescreen. You gotta get widescreen, and it's the special edition. So that's pretty cool. And then and then I've also got the soundtrack to the movie on CD, compact disc. So yeah, this is great fun, this soundtrack. So and then there's also just this one little part of this movie that I thought was so funny. So the company has hired these consultants, the Bobs, they're both named Bob, and they're talking to everybody. They've got everybody gathered around to introduce them to the consultants, and people, it's just panning over their faces, and they're all just kind of, staring, whatever, just listening. But there's this one guy that's like, and it's like there's always that guy, the yes man, that's like, yeah, we need to do this, yeah. And it's just whatever. Now I need to rate the movie. So I gotta give this movie 4 cat paws. It's great. It's a movie I watch probably every other year, maybe more, depending on what kind of a day I've had. You know, it's a great movie because it's so relatable. At least, I don't know, it is for me. And so I got to give it 4 cat paws. But here's my little co-host here. Ash loves this movie too. He gives it 4 cat paws. Ashley, say hi. Hi. Hi, this is Real Rebel's cat. He goes, oh, Mama, the lights are bright, but isn't he so cute? Oh, he's my little guy. So yeah, so if you could go ahead and, if you could just go ahead and watch Office Space, that would be great, okay? All right. Bye!